Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's 10 to be. Excited and delighted to be joined in studio by the legendary Mark Rosen. And quite frankly, I did not think we'd ever see you in studio. I was thinking.
I was beginning to wonder.
I was thinking you were thinking, you know what? I can milk this for a really long time.
Stay fair.
And just be sitting at home, just flip a switch and you're on. But here you are.
Well, I didn't make up my mind till like 12:30. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
I was tired of, staring at the walls and walking around a little bit, but I just felt for some reason it kind of clicked and able to get my shoes on. Karn left for work early today, so I was kind of on my own anyway, and which is the way it should be. But I tell you, I'm just walking from, because I haven't been able to do any cardio, walking from my car, parking and just walking through the front door.
Are you exhausted? You're exhausted.
I am exhausted.
Can you make it back to the car? Can you make it back up to your penthouse apartment? You may have to get a wheelchair
for me. I got my cane. I'm good to go. Yeah, I'll be all right. But yeah, it's great to be back.
Well, you're stronger now at 75 than you were at 45.
You guys were talking about, we talked about yesterday with the Waymo, the car and everything. My biggest concern, I've been practicing just getting in the car, going from, just a little exercise called going from the gas pedal to the brake.
Maybe you should get the self-driving car. I'm starting to think maybe that's the way to go.
I don't know, maybe. But it felt really good. It felt really odd a little bit. First time
here you are.
Over a month. So it's good to be here. I'm ran into Little B downstairs before she took off for an appointment.
Whoa.
What?
Hello, Lil B. We need you here at the radio station.
Well, she's doing some work.
All right.
She told me what she was doing, and that's she's on assignment, as they say.
All right, very good.
So yeah, good to see everybody.
Yeah. So you're
these new chairs, I remember seeing those.
Well,
before.
they changed all sorts. Abbott was in here wanting to. And I said, well, I like this one. And then somebody else likes the other kind. And so it's like, I don't know. Oh, thank you.
Oh, look at that.
So I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I like this one. This is the chair I like. I think I'm the only one who likes this one. Abbott's going to leave this one in here for the time being. But, Abbott's one of those guys who likes everything matching.
Right.
And everything has to be. And I get that. And, there were literally, I'm going to do the bit, hundreds of chairs, the office chairs that had seen their better days. I think everybody that listens knows we talk about it. We've renovated this place completely, and a lot of the chairs have been here a long time. Like anything, it's not like they were abused or anything. Just after 20 years in service, or however long we've been here, after a while they just start not working as well. So everything's new, and we're all happy and excited about it. You're wearing your Vikings hat. You're getting excited about that purple club, aren't you?
Honestly, I just grabbed the first hat I could get. That's was staring right at me.
Like that Vikings club.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think everyone is looking forward, given what's going on. That we're in that point of the season now. We're in that lull. Obviously, the Twins have bottomed out again, and not that people were getting overly excited about them. I know, but now it's always has been about. When the Vikings go to camp, I saw that KOC played golf with Scheffler today in the Pro-Am, and Scheffler talked about that experience today and mentioned that KOC talked about the quarterback situation a little bit, not tipping his hand out.
Let me ask you this question about the Vikings.
Yes.
Tenby and I got chided by listeners yesterday when we were talking about, it was one of those lazy radios, list radios list. And Tenby and I both said, well, if they get some really good quarterback play, a couple of ifs like every team, they could be right in the thick of things. And then we got chided by people, maybe you need to wear Barney's purple colored glasses and such. And it is hard when you think, Detroit has become the fashionable favorite now to bounce back from last year, that people still like. Not everybody. I'm just talking when you read online, the CBS Sports, the AP Sports, the ESPNs, and all these people that NFL Network, whatever, all the people that have takes on football. They're kind of saying the Lions because, they've got Gibbs, they got Amon-Ra St. Brown, they've kind of refurbished their offensive line a little bit. They've got some quality defensive players.
Last play schedule.
Yeah, and so they become. Then there's how can Chicago not become better? The Bears were really good last year. You think they would pick up where they left off. There's a lot of love for Green Bay out there with Jordan Love and some of the things they've done. And then the so-called experts look at the Vikings and go, you've got one quarterback that you drafted that to this point looks like a bust. And the other guy was described in a piece we read yesterday, and I think this is probably a good word. He's been very enigmatic. Murray's had his moments, but he's had more, he's had more disappointing moments than successful ones, because if he had more successful ones, he'd still be in Arizona. So it is a little difficult to get too excited about the purple, but then you talk about B-Flow, and they do have a good wide receiving core, and they can get any kind of a running game going, and Darisaw, a lot of ifs with every team. But it's a tough division, I think. I would think really realistically, and I might get negatrometered here by Tennessee, but I got to think right now the Vikings are looking up at the division, I think. Or do you disagree with? You know what? I think we're the best team in football. What do you think?
It's not even agreeing or disagreeing, because there's no way anyone can kind of weigh in on this. We've seen too many examples over the years, and it's such a wide open division. If people picking the Vikings finish last, it's fine. I mean, they probably don't deserve to probably be a little higher. Obviously, they won 5 in a row, but 4 of those wins were after they were eliminated from the playoffs last year. So late in the year, they won some games, actually hurt their draft position as much as anything, much to the chagrin of Meat Sauce. They took a flyer on arguably one of the most talented defensive tackles in the draft, and Caleb Banks, who's was dealing with.
We call them walking boot bags.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, I like to think he's had months to heal, and, he said, you don't know. Those things can be fickle enough, and you wait.
He's injured the same. It's twice.
Right.
Not once, but
when
twice.
you weigh 340, that's a lot of pressure you're putting on your foot, or whatever the case may be. But, if he's talented, if he's healthy and talented, then, him and the big citrus, and they got that linebacker. But more importantly,
sounds like you like this club.
No, I don't. I don't dislike him. I think the thing with the quarterback position, and Murray in particular, is, he was enigmatic in Arizona. Not a lot of talent around that team as well. We know the Cardinals have been not a good football team. He's coming to a situation that he's never experienced before, and whether it be, ask Sam Darnold what it was like to play here, and how he was able to cobble that together into a Super Bowl championship and a phenomenal contract. Murray's looking for the same Garden of Eden sort of ending here, I think, where he can not only position himself to potentially be here for a while, but for himself, I think, more importantly, sell himself to the highest bidder again and really lock in a huge contract if he has that kind of year. So I think he's playing hungry. He's playing like, I got a lot to prove this year. Whether or not he does it, who knows? I can't, we know what his skills are and what he's capable of with his being able to break down the rush and get out of the pocket and maybe allow Justin Jefferson to, take that extra step or two. But that's why we love the NFL, because you can go through every division and go, well, this team's favored, but this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. And then injuries are always a big part, as we know, every single week. We look at the injury report on Wednesday, who's available, who's questionable, who's not going to play. And the complexion of the season changes in a heartbeat. So I don't get too wrapped up in, I picked up my magazine. I have it, I don't have it with me today. I had it at home. I think it's Lindy. I get it to use it kind of my Bible when I do my prep work for rosters before the pregame shows that I do. And they have the Vikings finishing second, which I was honestly kind of surprised about. And that's a national publication. It's not a local twist to it. So, you can find any, and they're going, what does it matter? I remember in 1998 going up to Chris Carter at Winter Park, and the Vikings were middle of the season, whatever they were. They were ranked number 1 in the power rankings. Mm-hmm. And he looked at me and goes, so doesn't matter. What month is this? It's October. Who cares? It doesn't mean a thing until January. So you can look at all those things and just kind of, and that's the fun about the NFL. People are probably more interested in their fantasy football team right now than they are the actual, how the standings are going to turn out.
Well, here's a text message, and I don't know who the text messenger is, but he says, you got to chill with the Vikings. Going to suck. We won 9 games last year with a guy without a shoulder, and 9, meaning McCarthy. We won 14 games with Darnold. Come on, guys, sickening. And it's like, I just know, without knowing who he is, he's a dyed-in-the-wool purple fan. He wants the purple to do really. He lives and dies with the purple, and he does not want to hear anybody say, I don't think the team's going to be very good this year, because that ruins his football season. I'm sorry, dude.
Well,
they won their last 5 games. They were playing Three of those five teams had the three of the four worst defenses in pro football. The Packers rested every single starter in that game. Those were meaningless football games. Sorry, they didn't mean anything. When the games really counted and they had to win games to stay in the playoff chase, they laid an egg. Sorry, that's just the truth of the matter. And Darnold was brilliant. You should be mad at the organization for letting Darnold go. Yeah. There were some of us, very few, there were some of us that said, why are you letting a franchise quarterback walk out of the building? They were haughty. They thought they could do whatever they wanted with whoever it was. They let Darnold walk. Darnold wins a big game.
Well, it gets back to the guy I mentioned right at the outset of our conversation, KOC playing golf today in the Pro-Am with Scotty Scheffler, thinking a lot of pressure on him. He's got to win a playoff game or two. The Vikings have not won two straight playoff games?
He's not won a playoff game.
No, I know, but the Vikings haven't won two in a season since, 87? I think that was the last time.
Long time. We'll break. We'll come back. More to go with Mark Rosen. Tenneby's got a keyword. It's brought to you by our friends at BigDeck.com. Get your deck on.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword RICH at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. Keyword is RICH. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
Couple 13-14 pass. It's common. It's Tenneby and Mark Rosen. Here's a text message that came in, and I think this is a question that's worth mulling over. Tenneby, what do you think? Gutty or rosy appearance coming in today after knee surgery or after the bee sting? The bee sting, I think, was frightening.
Well, let me just say from a first-person account, the bee sting was frightening. We were out at the New Winter Park, and I got stung by the bee. Unfortunately, there was an ambulance nearby to help take care of that. This is some heavy lifting when you get a knee replaced. It's only been 4 weeks, but I'm sure a lot of people have had worse things done to their bodies. But you got to just grind mentally. I've had a couple of teary-eyed nights and where the pain is so intense, you don't think you're ever going to get better. And then you just all of a sudden things are kicking in a little bit. I've still got a ways to go, but I'm just thrilled I got to drive for the first time in a month today.
The person that we thought it was sickening that we were not championing the Vikings and how good we thought they were going to be says, start calling me 5, 6, 7 guy, or will always be defending my team. And that's great. But when you have delusions, and you might not be delusional. They might end up Kyler Murray or is it McCarthy or McCartney? McCarthy. They could, either one of those guys come in. Let's say one of them plays great. Right. Offensive line's great. Darrisaw's good. The defense comes together. Maybe they surprise everybody. Great. I hope it happens. But as I look at right now at the landscape of the NFC North, I'm sorry. I have to see. I didn't see anything last year that was encouraging at all. The last 5 games to me are meaningless as far as I'm concerned.
Well, again, the quarterback wasn't here last year that's going to start this year in all likelihood.
But there's a reason he's here and not where he was. Now, you did make up a point that Arizona didn't have a lot to work with, but if it's not like, he was available for a cup of coffee.
So was Sam Darnold, and look how that turned out.
Well, Sam Darnold was worth more than he signed a $100 million contract.
Well, no, not when he came here.
No.
I'm saying when he came here, it was a cup of coffee. He had been through a couple different teams, and people were kind of going, well, he's a journeyman kind of quarterback, and he was able to, again, I 100% agree. I think the Vikings misread the whole situation with J.J. McCarthy, that he was going to be ready to go. They didn't aggressively go after not only Sam Darnold, but Daniel Jones, who I think would have been a good fit here for another year. Internally, whether it was Kwesi, whether it was KOC, the combination, other people going, let's give this kid another year. He's not ready yet. He's got injuries. He's had this. He's had that. We got to roll with one of these two guys as our starting quarterback this year. And let's not forget about Carson Wentz. Who went through hell and back last year physically to try to cobble together some games. And he's still on this team. And I'm not suggesting he's the safety valve. He's the guy that's always going to be there. But he's not. Yeah, he's Carson Wentz now at this point of his career. So that's just it. But I think that's the difference. So you can remain optimistic. That's the way it works.
the tough part because of salary caps and the first year contracts, or the first, you want your quarterback, you want to play him right away, because a lot of quarterbacks do start and play right away. Most do nowadays. If you're a first round draft pick, you're rarely, it's not like the days where Favre sits behind, where a Rodgers sits behind Favre and Jordan Love sits behind. That doesn't happen very often anymore. Now it's you draft a guy and he's to play right away. Look at all the other guys that were drafted the same year McCarthy was. Caleb Williams started right away, didn't he? Or was he a backup?
I think he started right away.
How about Drake May? Did he start right away?
Yep.
How about Bo Nix? Did he start right away?
I believe so.
He did.
And then who were the other ones? Penix? Did he start right away?
Penix did not. Cousins was there.
And then who was the other?
Jaden Daniels started right away.
Yeah, Jaden.
They start right away.
Yeah.
That's just what you do.
So
now.
that's kind of the way the Vikings looked at it.
Well, and that's what they have to, because you do want to get the most out of before. Once they get to that other contract, you got to extend it. And all of a sudden, the guy, instead of making whatever, it's not peanuts, but making a small percentage of the salary cap, and all of a sudden he's going to get a large portion of it. So you want to win before that happens. So that's part of the problem. I just got another text that says, no World Cup talk. There's nothing to say.
World Cup. We talked about it.
The championship game of World Cup looked like United States, Belgium. It was no different. It was one team that didn't look like they belonged on the same pitch. Yeah. And I know did it end up being 1-0? I know the score one of the scores can be very deceiving in soccer. They were dominated in every way. I watched it. I got sucked into it. Argentina got dominated in every phase of the game, offense, defense, special teams.
Until they were playing a man short, and then all of a sudden they said, "Oh, we look at the clock. We got to try to score." And Messi got into it a little bit, and Argentina pressed. But
that was also because Spain was they went into a little bit of a defensive shell too. But I don't think if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Argentina even had a shot on goal until it got till extra time, or maybe worse.
And I think we talked about it. I mean, I talked about it with you yesterday.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just there's not much to say. Well, yeah, I guess now they want to go to 64 teams and whatever. I mean, if you look at it, we talked about this yesterday. They had 48 teams. Of those 48 teams, the way they said, well, the best 4 teams are probably France, Spain, Argentina, and England. So in other words, and I know you still have to have a tournament. You can't just pick 4 teams. And they tried that in NCAA football. They said, we're going to pick 4 teams and make a championship. And that was probably the best way to do it, because realistically, in NCAA football even, how many teams right now do you think have a realistic chance of winning the national championship? 4, 6, maybe 8?
10, maybe. But, I mean, it's interesting because the Big Ten has won the national championship the last 3 years with 3 different teams, which is including obviously Indiana. I was flipping around, and we were just talking during the break about how little stuff that's on TV is actually interesting. But I don't know why for 5 minutes I was watching SEC football's preview. And
you like that? Well, you're an SEC guy. You always have been.
Oh no, I don't. But they were talking about how Alabama hasn't recovered from the butt kicking they received at the hands of Indiana last year. And that was. They look at it as like, wait, you lost to a basketball school like by 35 points? This isn't going to fly in Alabama and Bear Bryant country.
Nope.
So, I mean, and the guy, I don't remember the reporter's name, it doesn't matter, basically said they're not back yet. They're not going to be that kind of a team. So to answer your question, I mean, there's probably 10, but all of a sudden the Big Ten has become, the model conference for winning national titles. Can't argue with it. Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana. Whose turn is it this year?
Yeah, and the reason I think it works better in basketball is because it's and I guess soccer you could make the argument it's one and done. Football it's one and done too, but it's just for a team, a lesser football team like a Cincinnati to win like 4 times against really the cream of the crop competition. That's really hard. That's why we make such a big deal out of it. If some team wins. Some 13 or 12 seed wins their first 2 games on the first week. It's like, can you believe it? They become the biggest story in sports. Football, it's too hard, I think, for any of those 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seeds to win. Maybe an upset the first week, but to do that again and then again, I just think it's hard.
Getting back to the World Cup conversation, that's why it was fun for a while to get excited about the U.S. team. And, they beat a couple okay teams, not great teams, and people got all, and it was fine. And everyone got it kind of rallying around the USA soccer team.
You got excited. You were pumped up.
Well, I wanted to see them do well, but I was realistic enough. I said it earlier in the conversation, saying, look, these are not in the same conversation as the teams you just mentioned. And when they end up running, and they didn't even end up playing one of those teams. They obviously lost to the Belgium, right? I mean, so, and it really wasn't close from the first 5 minutes of that game, the match. So, back to the drawing board.
We got a couple of other items we want to get to. It looks like LeBron, it was leaked. He's going to be signing with Miami. There was a, I know, I saw that. It looks like Tenneby's convinced that it was a mistake to leak it, but you don't put something like that together with a date on it, that he will be going to Miami. So where do we go for power forward? WNBA, the Lynx, fees coming back from what they tell me. So we've got
She's back. They're playing right now.
Oh, that's right. They are playing. What are they winning or losing?
They're down 22-18.
Why are they playing a game in the middle of the afternoon? Am I missing?
No, there's a whole bunch of teams playing this afternoon. They had the Lynx. This is a road game. They already had their camp day here in the afternoon already. So I don't know what the reason is. The TV bit, I don't know. Well,
they're playing. So we'll talk about those topics and a couple of others here on the Common Man program with Common Tenby and Mark Rosen right here on the Fan.
Listening to The Common Man with Mark Rosen on The Fan.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
13-14 pastime comedies tend to be Mark Rosen. Here's how's Fee doing today? I'm told it's called Camp Day Games, so kids at camps can watch games. So that's why they're playing afternoon games in the WNBA today. How's Fee doing, Tenny? You got any numbers?
Got one basket, I think. I just checked this box score, but
well, maybe she's peaked. Maybe that's it.
They're playing. They'll probably come back and win. I mean, they're playing a team that's 6-22 on the road, but Minnesota's 21-6. McBride's off to a great start. Collier's 1 for 6 from the field, and I mean it's
more rust than rest.
Yeah, that's okay. Let her knock off the rust against the bad basketball team.
Kayla McBride carrying the load offensively.
Exactly. She often does.
Best team in basketball, what Tenby said, is they got the best record in the
hard to argue with it right now. And then now they get feedback, and she'll work herself. I'm sure. I don't know if Cheryl's.
What if there's not enough baskallballs to go around?
Well,
what if dissension starts to creep into the team? What if they get moody? That's what happened with the Wolves. They got moody.
Yeah.
They look at the score sheet and go, I'm not getting enough touches. What if Fee doesn't get enough touches? What if she takes them from Olivia? What if she takes them from Kayla? What do we do then? Those things can happen, Mark. Don't just automatically assume that she'll just blend right in and everybody will be happy.
She's kind of a team player first anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that. I think Cheryl's got a pretty good grip on what this team is doing and what they're about, and Miles is a very unselfish player, as we've seen by her assist total already in their rookie season. So I do not personally think that'll be a problem, but again, we got a ways to go. They're 21-6. I don't think there's a lot of concern about it at the moment.
So yesterday, or was it earlier today, whenever it was, the Miami Heat. How did that go down, Tenby? They leaked something on their YouTube page or something?
They basically scheduled a press conference on their YouTube page for July 27th.
For July 27th to announce the signing of LeBron James. They took it down quickly and said it was a mistake. That was just in preparation in case. But as Tenna said, you don't throw a date on that of adjusting. Why would you throw the 27th down? Not knowing LeBron, especially, you don't know when he could make a decision. Do you think that's a tip? Do you think that's a tell, Mark Rosen?
Who's to know these days? I mean, LeBron has kept everything so close to the vest about everything about this decision he's making that how to have a specific date, to say nothing of the team, seems a little out there, unless somehow LeBron's people, which is really Rich Paul, his agent, would have leaked it. It seems a little off. I don't quite gauge that this is probably correct since it's still 5 days away, that they know that's going to be the case when LeBron hasn't even made up his mind. I'm still reading stuff that, he's still being courted by this team and that team. And, at this point, I've kind of out of sight, out of mind. I honestly, don't wake up in the morning and go, geez, I wonder what LeBron's going to do if he's going to make the decision.
I woke up in the middle of the night.
Did you think about it?
I couldn't get back to sleep.
Stirring and stewing about it.
That's correct.
Again, you just mentioned the FISA coming back to the Lynx and how they got one basketball. Well, that's also And LeBron, I think, has made it clear he wants to, win a ship again, and he doesn't have to be the guy, but name the team that he's potentially going to go to, and there are people and players in place already that are going to want a lot of touches, a lot of shots, whether it's Giannis.
Well, big ticket, when I talked to him about this, he thinks Miami is the
It
place.
makes sense.
He thinks, I've been saying Golden State, but he says, well, sure, it'd be fun to win with a couple of, your buddies in Draymond and Steph, but still, if you believe in I'll trust the people in the basketball community, that's still, of all the teams, would be, even if he joins them and all those guys stay healthy and play well, that would still be the longest shot to win a championship.
Given the competition in the West.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's not going to be the ballyhoo decision part 2 where he sat down and did that dramatic, taking my talents to South Beach. Going back to Miami, interesting. I mean, it would be interesting, but at the same time, because he's already won there, to me, it doesn't move the needle, so to speak, about LeBron's legacy any more than what he is. I mean, a lot of people still feel he's a top 10 player in the league. He very well might be in what he can still bring to a team. But I don't know. At this point, I mean, just make up your mind. I think it's like I don't know if I hope
what's the rush?
Yeah, there's no rush. It's only middle of July. I mean, I guess there isn't. They don't have to play a basketball game for a while.
They only need to put a schedule together. That's the thing. You know what?
Adam
But here's what I'll tell you. Yeah, but here's what I'll tell you. I know the stars are basically the league, especially in the NBA, but you put your schedule together, you don't say, well, we got to wait to find out where LeBron's playing so we can put them in all the prime time games. Well, I know that's what you want to do, but you can't let one guy run the league. What if he says, I'm not going to decide until October? What if, and I know he will, but, well, then, so you don't put a schedule together until October? It's the most preposterous thing.
Well, and I think what we saw in the NBA,
letting one guy dictate everything in the league.
We just saw phenomenal ratings with the NBA Finals. I mean, the Knicks, was the last time I looked, won the championship, and people were locked into that. We got Wemby's turned out to be this, polarizing figure in a lot of ways, but he's become the face of the league in a lot of ways in the future. OKC's OKC with SGA and what they have, and we got the Wolves, we got Denver. There are a lot of teams out there that have big personalities that you don't have to rely on. I don't think that, it used to be maybe 5-6 years ago, like, oh man, I can't wait to watch LeBron. I don't think that's necessarily the case. If he's on, it'd be interesting to see him play with Giannis or whatever, or out at Golden State or maybe back to Cleveland. I don't think it's the driving force for what NBA viewers want to see. They just went through an entire postseason really without having LeBron much of anything involved in anything. So
I'm with you.
I think the Knicks were the best story. Yeah. I mean, they were a phenomenal story.
And I understand the draw of LeBron, especially if let's say he were to join, any team, but particularly like Philadelphia. A lot of people think it makes Philadelphia the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing. So then you would want the people in the basketball community that care about these things are going to want to see a lot of Philadelphia play, especially when Philly's got a game against Boston. Especially there's the storyline of the kid from Boston going to Philadelphia, right? Then you have the story playing the big hitters over in the West. So there would be the interest. I get that, but after a while, you can't let one guy run the entire league. But he's a basketball dinosaur.
Because of, again, I'm a little surprised that Silver even made that comment, because I think he just saw firsthand how the league, is going to move on just fine without LeBron. I mean, as incredible of a figure as he's been, transitional figure as he's been in the NBA history, the league will be just fine. And it's going to continue to thrive and do what they do. And, it's not going to matter. LeBron will be probably one and done after this.
Well, and then I saw a story today that says, he had kind of thrown out, does he want to go to 25 years in the NBA? Would he want to play longer? You don't know.
You never know. He's in incredible shape. I mean,
we've talked about this before. I brought this up many times. If you're an accountant or a talk show host, you can work until you're 60, 70, 75, 80 years old. There's a lot of professions you can work forever. Pro sports, you can't. I don't care who you are. There does come a time, even at 45, Brady, you have to say, I'm done. Most guys just don't play that long. So even LeBron at 40 or 41, whatever he is, you can want to keep playing, but after a while, there's going to be diminishing returns. And so then it's like you say to yourself, I've only got 1 or 2 years left. I may as well milk it because I like it, because once I leave, I'm done. And at 45, you're still a young man.
Yeah.
You know, you still got another 30, 40 years to live possibly. And what are you going to do with that? Do you really, will you find satisfaction in being a studio host, an analyst, or maybe just private business? Will you miss the game? So they figure, I'm going to milk it to the very bitter end.
He's got his hands in so many things, from movies to, the question would, his brand, video games, whatever it might be. LeBron's already diversified enough that he's going to be a huge name no matter what he does. And I think the thing that Minnesota thought might be attractive to him, his relationship with A-Rod, was, does he really have an interest in becoming an owner or part owner of an NBA team, and that potentially he would learn the ropes, so to speak, from Laurie in particular more than A-Rod, I think. But those two guys, because of where they are and how they were able to acquire the Timberwolves and coming here with his good friend Ant, et cetera, that was the attraction that I think we've been presented. And it's still a very small percentage that people feel that he'd end up here. And I agree with that. Although I think, again, from a basketball standpoint, to me, it'd be a lot more intriguing for LeBron to come here and try to win a championship where they've never won a championship.
But that doesn't matter to him.
Well, I don't know. It probably does. No, it doesn't. I think the ownership part of it does.
Yeah, but I'm going to
winning a championship.
I don't think that matters.
Plus, I don't think.
That's what I'm saying. That's not intriguing to him. It might be for you and Minnesota fans. And maybe it is. Maybe he'll say,
don't know. I think the ownership part of it does.
Maybe he'll say, I based my decision. I wanted to help a city that's never had a championship win. Maybe he does feel that way.
I don't think he has any kinship towards the Twin Cities. No,
that's what I think. But I could be wrong. Yeah. Gopher men's basketball team went 15-18 last year, 8-12 in Big Ten play, 11th in the conference, and it got Nico Medved a 1-year contract extension.
That's a good thing.
What a beautiful university to work for.
Come on, I think that just makes sense. I think Nico. Listen, Ben Johnson got a job in the NBA, right, as assistant coach. Good for Ben. I'm happy for him. But I think everyone saw the improvement in terms of what the Gophers able to do with, kind of putting a roster together. And Nico's, I think, going to be...
His total annual compensation for 2026-2027 is now $3.2 million. Yep. That's a $200,000 increase. His base salary remains at $400,000, while supplemental compensation increases to 2.8. Half of the increase was already built into Medved's contract through a $100,000 annual escalator, with the extension adding another $100,000 in new compensation. So it's okay.
It's still probably the lower echelon of Big Ten basketball coaches, but I don't have any problem. It's a 1-year deal. It's a 1-year extension, and I think Nico made a lot of inroads with what he's trying to do. And listen, it's all in basketball. You need two big stars to probably turn your program around, and I don't know where they stand right now. I know they have some good recruits. We know that. We see this every year. PJ Fleck, the Gopher football team, had their media day today, and
at the Gibson-Nagurski complex.
Right. And how many extensions has PJ Fleck received? I'm saying like something annual.
I think next is a lifetime contract. No, I really do. I think if he said I want a lifetime contract, they'd give it to him. Fleck said today, the expectation that we put on our players on and off the field is really, really high. We think we have a really good football team in 2026. I think he said that before the 2025 season, the 2024 season, the 2023 season, the 2022, and that's fine. I'm sure they do. But as we just talked about before, the last 3 national champions have been from the Big Ten. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Big Ten's
Ohio
tough
State and
really, really
Indiana.
And I know that here we've almost come to accept that we're never going to be like Ohio State. We're not going to be like Michigan. Indiana did it, and that's, I think, the one thing we look at and go, see, it can be done. It can be done. Well, I don't know.
My coach, some Mark Cuban money for nil, and I think a lot of things that fell into place. And with the coach who was very aggressive in getting some players that he looked at weren't 5-star players that maybe your 3-star players turned into 5-star players, and that's what PJ has to do. He's not going to get the cream of the crop, but he and his staff have to turn those players into, monsters, as they say, to compete in the Big Ten, which has all of a sudden become not all of a sudden, but you know what I mean? With Penn State not even being mentioned in that group, teams like Iowa, it's always Michigan, Ohio State. Now Indiana's in the mix, more than in the mix. They're probably favorites to do it again. So, how the Gophers sit and how they're going to, we'll go through that same conversation.
You like
starting
this
at the state
Gophers
fair.
football team, don't you?
I'm not going to get wrapped up in preseason hopes and dreams for the Gophers. I obviously love to see them do well. I've been a fan ever since my dad started taking me to games when I was, 10 years old at Memorial Stadium.
That famous picture? No, that was
not. No, that was at that stadium. Yeah, I was a little later. I was 65. Yeah, a while back.
Let's see. Gophers.
Yeah, they're 45-point favorites, I guess, for their first game. So there's that.
They open September 3rd at home against Eastern Illinois. Don't sleep on Eastern Illinois.
45-point favorites.
Then they play September 12th against who?
I don't know. It's a money grab for those other teams. Eastern Illinois, if they're playing at home.
Is that Mississippi State, MS State? Or is that Mankato State? Are we playing Mankato?
I don't think they're playing.
They're playing Mankato State. Week 2.
I don't think they are.
And then they're taking on, what's AKR? Akron?
Akron, probably, yeah.
That's tough.
It's
a tough opening schedule.
That's pretty gritty.
Tough.
Or the Zips.
Zips.
Or the Zips or the Zaps.
It is Mississippi State, by the way.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Is that a real club? No, it was Ole Miss that was a real club last year.
Mississippi State is at least, that's an SEC school.
Yeah,
it is. They got
right?
that.
They're SEC, right?
Right.
I guess
sure they are.
Then we traveled to Washington to start the Big Ten schedule. That's a loss. Michigan comes here. That's a loss. At Purdue, that's a loss.
Wow.
Let's say we beat Iowa at home. We'll give them a win. UCLA here, we get a win. Now we're on a roll.
You skipped one.
Oh, which one did I skip? Oh, Indiana.
At Indiana.
Oh, boy.
Okay, we lose there.
Yeah.
Then we get back on the winning track. We beat UCLA. Is Penn State going to be down this year?
Who knows?
We're at Happy Valley.
That's
It'll be
never
unhappy
easy.
for us
No.
if we lose there. We got to beat Northwestern, and then we're at Wisconsin. I got 4 wins. Well, the three at the beginning, the 4 in the Big Ten. That's a 7-win season.
I think it's
that's
your
a
bowl
2-year
game.
contract extension of $1.2 million for PJ.
And the Meineke Bowl, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
maybe I'm selling them short. I mean,
but you just said that's a pretty rigorous Big Ten schedule right away. Going to Washington. Is that where they open up? Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
This one says Indiana did not have the Mark Cuban money until after the coach had turned the program around. Winning gets nil money,
Yeah.
which gets more winning. Yeah.
Signetti deserves all the credit. It absolutely does. I mean, there's very few coaches you think of that could do that type of a thing. And he just said, Google me. Maybe that was his famous line about his name, and et cetera, et cetera. But he brought some of those players in from him, and 100% he deserves the credit for getting the players, getting them to believe, and that does bode well for other schools to say, look, they did it. However they did it, and ended up with the Heisman Trophy winner, number 1 draft pick in the NFL, and watching him play, like, wait, Fernando Mendoza, really?
Hey, boy, working as a coach for the Gophers is kind of like working as a radio host on the Fan. Year after year, you can produce mediocre results, and you can continue to get contract extensions. He's right. I've been doing it for decades.
You're not arguing with that, are you?
No, not at all.
No.
Actually, let's just say that the report card's been very good the last 3 years.
Happy to hear that.
Really good.
Really good.
Missed you at Dunkers. I was at Dunkers.
You told me.
You were at Dunkers when you wrote your book, right? They invited you in. Just think.
I've been on there a bunch of times, hosting and moderating and being a guest.
Al Kaline.
Kaline?
He was there at Dunkers.
No, I know.
Al Kaline, Denny McClain, Norm Van Brocklin, Bud Graham.
Norm Van Brocklin.
He was there.
Oh, man.
He was just
probably cussing everybody
Jack
out.
Dempsey was there. Jack
That's
Nicholas.
hard to imagine.
Bob Knight. Howard Cosell. They were all there, and so was I.
How about that?
I was just moderator guy, though, but it was fun. We were with the.
Had a little buffet breakfast.
I didn't eat. I picked at it.
Yeah,
I'm not a big breakfast guy.
It's a good thing about the Dunkers program. That's in and out because people have to go to work, or most of the people. I think a lot of those people are retired, but an hour.
Well, let's put it this way.
I'm a
That was
youngster
one of the
there.
few places that I've been invited where that was the youngest guy.
I was going to say, I'm a youngster there.
No, there were a number of youngsters there.
Well, they've done a good job of.
Sammy Sigelman was there.
Oh, really?
Oh, sure.
They've done a good job of cultivating and
you know who else was there?
No.
Les was there. Bagwell. Lester.
Lester's always at those, yeah.
And Lester, so we open it up to questioning. And Lester goes, yeah, I got a question for Muzzy and for Common. He's so good. And he goes, Muzzy, he goes, tell me about, because he's a St. Thomas Academy guy, too. That's where I think his kids were. And then where Lester's kids were, I think. So he says something about, tell us what the school meant to you, your education, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and Common, what'd you shoot today?
Did he say that?
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Les and I are tight. I call him Les. We're tight. We're really tight. So yeah, so everybody. I saw that list of the people that have been spoken.
Amazing.
It is. I mean, they've had the legendary names. Roger Staubach spoke there. I think they had Bart Starr, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody. Well, if you were anybody back in the day, they were able to finagle a way to get you to show up there.
Sid Hartman would always, he'd help line up the guests. He would walk them over there. Middle of his radio show. He'd walk them over to the Minneapolis club, or I think that's where it was, or athletic club. And then he'd do his radio show on the phone. I tell you something, I got a great guy over here, Bobby Knight. Everybody misunderstood.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had, and thankfully they've opened it up to a younger group. They've had, believe it or not, they have women there now that are part of the Dunkers. It never used to be that way, as it should be. Welcome to the new age. Glad you had a chance to go.
This one says, coming back to football, do you / Rosie think the Vikings have a better chance of winning more than 8.5 or Gophers over 5.5? I would ask for Deuce's opinion, but I'm aware of his spread swing results.
Wow.
Deuce getting shotted out of nowhere. He's not even near us.
No.
Here's another. This one says, teams like the Gophers in the second, third tier have to schedule those easy games. They need wins because they cannot amass enough wins. I understand that. That's what they do. You need to win 6 games to be bowl eligible. You have 3 cream puffs to start the season.
Right.
And even the powerhouse
That's why they do cream puffs? I'd never thought about that.
Even some of the cream puffs team like Michigan would usually have 1 cream puff. It's in Ohio State.
They always
But
do.
they only have 1. Then usually they're playing a pretty powerful school. They're playing like an Alabama or Ohio, or a Clemson. I mean, they schedule a big-time game, at least one. We don't. That's okay. Maybe